Good morning, children. Today we will start with the third chapter, that is Plant Kingdom. Our understanding of the plant kingdom have changed over time. Fungi and members of Monera and Protista having cell walls have been included in plenty in the earlier classification. The kingdom plenty now includes algae, bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperms, and angiosperms. Fungi, Monera, Protista have been excluded from this. Let us study about the salient features of kingdom plenty. The first feature is they are multicellular organisms. Multicellular organisms means made up of many cells with walled means they have the outer covering, they have the wall, and frequently vacuolate means they have vacuoles. Eukaryotic cells, eukaryotic means they have well defined nucleus. Surrounding to the nucleus they have nuclear membrane. Second feature is they contain photosynthetic pigment in plastids. Photosynthetic pigment means the chlorophyll pigment. So chlorophyll pigment is present in the plastids, and the principal or the main mode of nutrition is photosynthesis. That means they are autotrophic. That means they can prepare their own food using simple inorganic substances like carbon dioxide, water, and in presence of sunlight and using chlorophyll. They are primarily non-motile, means they cannot move from one place to another place and live anchored to a substrate, means they attach themselves to the substrate. Another feature is reproduction is primarily asexual or sexual. Okay, that means they can undergo both the types of reproduction, that is asexual reproduction in which there is no gamete formation, and sexual mode of reproduction where the gamete formation takes place. The reproductive organs are multicellular. Okay, they form a multicellular embryo, and the multicellular embryo is formed from the diploid structure which is called zygote. Algae lack the embryo so algae doesn't have the embryo stage. The life cycle consists of alternating haploid gametophyte and diploid sporophyte. Means in their life cycle, suppose this is the life cycle, so some phase of the life cycle, suppose this phase is the haploid phase in which the gametes are produced, and the other phase is the sporophyte phase which is diploid. Sporophyte, okay, which is diploid. Okay, and in this phase the spores are produced. Here gametes will be produced. Okay, so the life cycle consists of alternating haploid gametophyte and diploid sporophyte generation. This phenomenon is called the alternation of generation. Right? Now let us study about classification of plant kingdom. As I've already told you in the beginning of this video, that is plant kingdom is divided into algae, bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperms and angiosperms, right? So the plant kingdom is divided into mainly two categories, that is cryptogamy and phanerogamy. Cryptogamy means they cannot produce seeds, plants without seeds, and phanerogames means plants with seeds, right? So under cryptogamy, further the subdivision bryophyta and pteridophyta, whereas under phanerogamy, gymnosperms and angiosperms. Let us start with the first, that is Thallophyta. It comprises the simplest plants which possess undifferentiated or thallus-like forms. Means the plant body is not divided into true root, stem and leaves. So Thallophyta comprises the simplest plants which possess undifferentiated or thallus-like forms. Reproductive organs are single-celled called gametangia, and it includes only algae. So algae are chlorophyll containing simple thalloid autotrophic, means they can prepare their own food, and largely aquatic organisms. They are found in both fresh water and marine water. Okay, now let us see more characteristics of algae. The first characteristic is plant body is thallus. As I told you just now, thallus means the plant body is in mass. The plant body is not divided into true roots, stem and leaves. So plant body may be unicellular, means a single cell may form a complete body. It may be colonial, means a group of organisms are present together. It may be filamentous, means the filament like structure may be present, or parenchymatous. Parenchymatous means they are made up of parenchyma cells. Parenchyma cells are thin walled, and they may possess chlorophyll pigment which helps in photosynthesis. Second characteristic is usually aquatic, but a few are also found in moist terrestrial habitats like the wet rocks and soil, tree trunks, etc. Okay, then the third characteristic of algae is vascular tissues, means xylem and phloem, and mechanical tissues like collenchyma and sclerenchyma are absent. About xylem, phloem, collenchyma, sclerenchyma, you have already studied in 9th standard, so I don't think so here it has to be repeated. Then reproduction is vegetative by fragmentation, means one plant body will divide into two or more fragments, and from that two or more fragments which are produced will further develop a complete filamentous body. Asexual reproduction by spore formation. The spores which are produced are the zoospores. Zoospores are the pear-shaped structures which have flagella. Okay, so asexual reproduction takes place by spore formation, and sexual reproduction by the fusion of gametes. In sexual reproduction, there will be fusion of gametes. The gametes may be isogamous. Isogamous means two morphologically similar gametes fuse to form a zygote, like in Spirogyra. Morphologically similar means when you observe the gametes, The observable features are exactly same. Okay, so isogamous means the two morphologically similar gametes fuse to form a zygote, like in Spirogyra. And isogamous means it is the fusion of structurally dissimilar gametes which differ in size and behavior. Like male gamete is more active than female gamete. Male gamete is bigger in size than the female gamete. So, right, as the male gametes are bigger than the female gametes, they are structurally dissimilar. Okay, their size is different and even the behavior is different. That is, male gamete is more active than the female gamete. Example in Chlamydomonas. And sexual reproduction may also occur by oogamous. In this process, the male gamete is motile, active, small, and without reserve food. The female gamete is bigger, passive, non-motile, and laden with food. Okay. Example is Volvox. Then the fifth feature is life cycle is various, that is haplontic, diplontic or diplohaplontic. Now haplontic life forms, haplontic life cycle, I am explaining about haplontic life cycle. In haplontic life cycle, haplontic life forms produce gametes through mitosis. After formation of the gametes, there will be fertilization of the gametes, and after fertilization, a zygote is formed, which is a diploid structure, and this is the zygote is only the diploid structure in the entire life cycle. Okay, so that is haplontic life cycle. If we talk of diplontic life cycle, then the real plant body is diploid and produces the gametes by the meiosis process. One thing, mitosis and meiosis are the mitosis and meiosis are the cell division. In mitosis, the number of chromosomes produced will be same. The number of chromosomes produced in the daughter cells will be same as that of the parental cell. Okay, that means if the parent cell have n number of chromosome, the daughter cells will also have n number of chromosome. N means one set of chromosome, means haploid. And in meiosis, the number of chromosomes will reduce to half. Means if there are two sets of chromosomes, means diploid, then the number of chromosomes in the daughter cells will be haploid. That is, it will reduce to half. That means the daughter cells will have n number of chromosomes. Okay, so in diplontic life cycle, the real plant is diploid and produces the gametes by meiosis. Now, if we talk of diplohaplontic life cycle, then two types of plants on the basis of chromosome number and behavior are produced. The diploid plant, which is sporophyte, produces spores meiotically. Again, meiotically means meiosis, which is reductional division, and this spores gives rise to the gametophyte. Again, gametophyte is the plant which produces the gametes, which produces haploid gametes. Okay, I hope this much is clear to all. Okay, now further, algae is classified into different classes. That is chlorophyceae, phaeophyceae and rhodophyceae. These are the three classes of algae. Moving to the first class, that is chlorophyceae or green algae. Green algae, which is also called chlorophyceae. There are about 7,000 species in this class. The characteristic features of chlorophyceae are: number 1, these are unicellular. Okay, that means unicellular organisms are abundant, but colonial forms are also present. Multicellular forms are also present. Cell wall contains cellulose. Cellulose is a complex carbohydrate. So cell walls contain cellulose in the inner layer and pectose in the outer layer. Then the chloroplasts contain photosynthetic pigments. Most of the members have one or more storage bodies which are called pyrenoids, and pyrenoids store the starch, and along with the starch proteins are also stored in it. Then the members of chlorophyceae reproduce vegetatively, asexually and sexually by various methods. Vegetative reproduction occurs through cell division in the cellular forms, then by fragmentation, okay, and asexual reproduction occurs by zoospores. Then sexual reproduction occurs by isogamous, anisogamous or oogamous, about which we have already discussed in this video. Life cycle can be haplontic, diplontic and haplodiplontic. About these three types of life cycles also we have discussed earlier. Examples of green algae are Chlamydomonas, Eulothrix, Spirogyra. Moving to the next class, that is Phaeophyceae or brown algae. All members are multicellular of this class. That means unicellular species are absent. Cell wall is made up of, or cell wall is composed of cellulose, pectose. The cellulosic wall of vegetative cell is usually covered on the outer side by a gelatinous coating which is called algine. Reserve food material is complex carbohydrate such as laminarin, I am writing it here. It is laminarin or mannitol. These are complex carbohydrates. Okay. Then vegetative reproduction occurs through fragmentation. Asexual reproduction by biflagellate zoospores, which are pear-shaped, having two unequal laterally attached flagella. In one of the slide I have drawn the diagram and I have shown you. Sexual reproduction is performed by isogamy, anisogamy and oogamy. And in many brown algae, the diploid generation or phase is dominant. Okay, the haploid phase is either microscopic, means they cannot be seen with our naked eyes, or represented by gametes only. Example is the fucus, 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 sargassum, ectocarpus. Moving to the third class, that is Rhodophyceae, which is also known as red algae. It is commonly called red algae because of the predominance of the red pigment, that is R-phycoerythrin. This is red color pigment which is present in Rhodophyceae, and because of this dominant pigment, the algae is red in color. The red thalli of most of the algae are multicellular. Only few unicellular species are found. The cell wall contains cellulose and polysulfate esters. Polysulfate esters are the characteristic pigments which provides the red color. Then the reserve food material is Floridian starch. Floridian starch is a granular carbohydrate that is present in the red algae. It is different from true algae, it is different from true starch, true starch is stored in plastids of the cells, whereas Floridian starch is not stored in the plastids. Okay. Then sexual reproduction occurs by non-motile gametes and is oogamous type. Vegetative reproduction occurs by fragmentation. Asexual reproduction occurs by non-motile spores. Okay. If we talk of life cycle, then the life cycle has 2 or more phases. Examples of Rhodophyceae are Polysiphonia, Gelidium, Porphyra, etc. Moving to the next topic, that is economic importance. A number of brown algae like Laminaria sargassum, they are used as food in some of the countries. They are used as food supplements in some of the countries. Then Fucus and Laminaria are a rich source of iodine. Laminaria and Ascophyllum have antibiotic properties. Antibiotic properties means can destroy the bacteria. And the fourth one is alginic acid is obtained from Fucus and sargassum and is used as emulsions. Emulsion means a stable suspension of small droplets of one liquid in another with which it is not mixable or immiscible. So children, that is all for today. In our next video, we will start with the next category of kingdom Plantae, that is bryophytes. I hope this much is clear to everyone. Thank you.